Welcome into the Sports Recap Show. I'm your host, Dylan Leak. And today, Tuesday, July 16th, I'm going to be recapping yesterday in sports, talking about some of the upcoming things tonight and tomorrow. Before I get into that, make sure if you're new to the channel, like this video, subscribe, comment on the video below. Any engagement helps. Let's get into the video, though, and we're going to start with NBA Summer League, and we're going to look at Bronny James. He played his fourth Summer League game last night. Look, I'm not saying that Summer League is everything. It's not. We've seen guys start off Summer League bad, get a little bit better. We've seen guys have really good Summer League games or seasons, and then go to the NBA and have no success. So there's not a direct correlation between Summer League performance and NBA performance or NBA output. However, I believe there is a direct correlation to guys looking completely lost or looking out of place in Summer League and not being a real NBA player, and that's what I've seen with Bronny James. Despite what ESPN has tried to push for weeks now, it's coming to fruition now that we're watching him play actual games. Because my bet is that despite everybody having an opinion on this topic, nobody really watched him play in college or high school, right? We heard the name Bronny James. We saw he was ranked as a high school player in the top 100. He went to USC, right? And people saw his numbers. They knew he had cardiac arrest. Thank God he was okay. People kind of dismissed the fact that he didn't even start and didn't average many points. And then he gets, thrown into this spot where his dad wants him to be drafted and all this crazy stuff happens. But I guarantee you most people never watched him play. And so these last four games are the first we're seeing of Bronny James, or the majority of the public at least. And it's been really, really ugly. And it was no different last night. He was 1 of 5 from the field, 0 of 3 from downtown. He had just 2 points, 1 assist to 3 turnovers, had 3 rebounds. In Vegas Summer League, which has just been 2 games, Bronny James has 1 assist and 6 turnovers in 2 full games. And he played a good amount of minutes last night. Overall on the summer, he has more turnovers than assists. I believe he's averaging 2 turnovers a game in 4 games, 1.5 assists. Not like a crazy difference, but you would expect a guy who isn't having to create and isn't having to take risks with passes very often. He really just sits in the corner. He doesn't bring the ball up. You would expect that guy not to turn the ball over all that much, but he has. He's had 2-3 turnover games in Vegas back to back. The worst, though, has been his shooting, and we knew that he was not a shooter coming in. People had talked about it, but, we're talking shots not even close. 2 of his 3 missed threes last night were air balls. He's airballed, I believe, 5 threes in Summer League. He is 0 for 15 in 4 games from beyond the arc in Summer League. Now, he did admit that he's in a little bit of a slump. Thanks, Bronny. Yes, you're in a slump because instead of shooting 25% from 3 like you did in college, now the line moved back a little bit, and now you're shooting 0%, right? In a arguably easier position to score. I would say the defense in Summer League compared to the defense at the collegiate level in conference play is probably higher at the collegiate level. The talent is maybe better in Summer League, but not overall defense. These guys haven't played together. There's not a lot of team defense, right? They get a couple of practices, and that's about it. Anyway, yeah, he's been horrific shooting the ball. He's not made free throws either. He's 50% from the free throw line. Overall, he is 7 for 31 from the field, so it's not like he's scoring in the paint or making jump shots inside the arc, right? He's shooting 22.6% from the field overall. It's just been really bad. And so I look at this and I think, okay, he's going to get his opportunities. Obviously, we know that. Is there a chance he could ever be an NBA player? Well, yes, because if you gave any, Power 5 college basketball player who was a pretty good athlete, which he is, he's a good athlete. If you gave any of them 4 to 8 guaranteed years in the NBA with no repercussion or worry of getting kicked out or not making the team, which is what probably he's going to get, at least 4, if not 8 then of course you'll have some of those guys develop into, a level where they can be somewhat of a contributor at an NBA level, but obviously much slower than guys who would have been drafted before them, which is why it's frustrating that Bronny James got drafted and is going to be given this free opportunity to develop. I think if Bronny James wants to have any chance of being an NBA player, he needs to stop shooting, 3-4 threes a game, which I get it's summer league, I understand that. And he needs to work on his ball handling significantly, and he needs to become a dog, because the guy who I see him only being like if he wants to be an NBA player is Patrick Beverley. That's it. That is the only guy I could see him turning into where he is actually an NBA contributor. And I'm not saying a starting point guard. I'm saying a lesser version of Patrick Beverley, right? He has to learn to shoot well enough. Beverley is not a great shooter, but he's learned to knock down enough. And he's such a pest on defense, and he's such a dog, and he made a name for himself just irritating people and playing super hard, harder than anybody else on the floor, diving for loose balls, taking guys out really borderline past the line, actually, of being a dirty player. I'm not saying he has to do that, but be an absolute dog. I don't know that Bronny James has that in him. I really do not. I've seen him play in Summer League a couple times. You would think if a guy was really hungry and he got drafted at whatever it was, 55, and all he's heard is this noise about how he didn't deserve it, you'd think he would come out and just lay it all out there, and we just haven't seen that. I've seen him play good defense at times, and I've seen him struggle at times defensively. He's small. He's not the strongest. He's going to struggle with bigger guards. He doesn't really defend in the pick and roll all that well. He gets screened very easily, doesn't fight over very quickly, doesn't always switch well. And that's another thing. If you're playing on a team that's switching and you're 6'1", you're going to be in a mismatch a lot of the time. So I think that's the only way he becomes really, really, have a chance to become a NBA contributor. He's got to be a Patrick Beverley type, a pest, right? A defensive guy. I don't see him ever being a very, very good shooter. If the Lakers were smart, they would do one thing right here, and the Thunder would never let him go, but they would go get Chip English, who the Spurs, for whatever reason, let leave their organization. This is the guy who taught Tony Parker how to shoot, who never was able to shoot when he came into the league from France. Kawhi Leonard, who couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, became a 40+% three-point shooter. Lou Dort, one of the worst shooters I've ever seen coming into the NBA, 40% three-point shooter this year, making multiple threes in playoff games this season. What's the common denominator? Chip English. If I was the Lakers, I'd throw $1 million at Chip English and bring him in to teach Bronny and some of those other guys on the Lakers to shoot, because they've not been a good shooting team the last couple years anyway. I obviously don't think OKC would ever let him go, but that would be the move I would be looking for. Remember, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel if you have not done so already, and please let me know in the comments below what you think about the show. Do you guys enjoy these shorter clips where I just break down specific topics? Do you guys like it better if I do a 30-minute video where I do everything from the last day or two in sports? Let me know what you think. Any suggestions, critiques, comments, all are welcome. Engagement with our channel helps us massively. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys next time.